I don't think Jannah was there last time. It was Yomna and Duha, I think.
She wasn't?
No. Am I right, Jannah? Maybe she cannot mute herself.
No, it's set up. People can unmute themselves if they want to.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I was not here last time.
Okay. So he said Tadabor, and he said Taqwa, and there is Tauba, and the fourth one, Ta, exactly. So these are the 40s, and we said that these are foundational, so that one can be an agent of change. So if you think about being an agent of change, which is the title of this series, actually, so we have to be prepared ourselves. We have to build ourselves first. And when we discuss the examples of the agents of change, examples of agents of change from the Quran, we found out that they were not seeking to be agents of change. They just had goals, right? And these goals were related to being submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obeying his commandments, which means that inni ja'alun fil ardi khalifa. This means that if I am that we are representatives of Allah on this earth, so we have to do our best. Within that context, they were doing their work. الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. They understood this very well. That whenever there is iman, amal salih, the good deeds are directly associated with that amal salih. They are coupled together all the time. So they understood that, and basically they just did their work. Do you remember that when we said that you do what you have to do and what you should do, but the outcome is not yours? That you remind people, right? You are not and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate guide for everyone. But we have to do our part. So that is the context of change. Then we said that today we are going to, who remembers the examples that we gave last time? Give a couple of examples from the Quran about agents of change, and particularly youth agents of change.
So there's an example of Dawood alayhi salam when he was fighting alongside with Talut.
Dawood, right? Yeah.
No.
Dawood, Prophet Dawood. This is an example. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Right? He was an agent, a major agent of change. And we talked about the example that everybody knows and everybody would mention, which is the youth of the cave of Kahf, Ashab al-Kahf. And we said that, well, in their lives they did not do anything. There was nothing in their lives that would indicate that they were agents of change. They just isolated themselves and fled the town. So how come these are agents of change? And this is what led us to the conclusion that I mean, you do your best, right? They rejected what their, I mean, what their fellow community members were doing, right? Uh, and and they decided, well, in the end, this is we cannot continue like that, and we have to part that evil. Eventually, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala made them agents of change, and the same thing for the boy and the king and the boy and the king. We know that story very well, which is the people of the trench, and it was a similar thing. That boy had convictions, had iman, and Allah made him an agent of change. Based on what he did is that he was sincere in his iman, he was sincere in his deeds, and in the end, he made a major change in the community where many of them turned into believers in Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
So, Muhammad, can you give us examples of how people can be agents of change today, like in this world we live in this day and age, and if you're in high school or in college or a young professional?
So as I said, so the first thing is to build yourself. I mean, to be aware that these four things that you need to do. Now, your question is a very good question in terms of what. Now, let's say, okay, well, I don't feel that I am qualified, or I don't feel that I have enough taqwa, or I don't feel that I have reflected enough on the Quran and Sunnah, and I learned enough in life. How can I be? I'm not ready yet. Of course, this thing I'm not ready yet is from shaitan, because no matter how no matter how little we know, or no matter how unprepared we might be, or even no matter how, I mean, many things that we might think that we are doing wrong, we can still be agents of change. The thing that the most important thing, that the difference between what Allah expects and what humans expect, is that when we reward, we reward based on outcome, not on effort. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala deals with us in a different way. His main way is on intention and effort, because Allah knows that the outcome is His, right? That is in under His control, not our control. So the mindset of so I said that we need to be prepared. So am I saying the opposite? No, don't be prepared and just go ahead and work and in your best in order to be in order to change society. No, there is no conflict between these two. While I'm preparing myself and gaining more in terms of knowledge, as we said last time, the end of the Quran says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. Have taqwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the knowledge. Okay, وَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. And if you're thankful, I mean, I will increase you. Okay, increase you in what? Increase you in everything, right? In blessings, in knowledge, in taqwa, and everything. So, so while we are on our journey to I mean, to learn and to be better people, we are also on the journey of doing the istikhlaf fil ard, which is, I mean, I have to be an example, the best I can, of good moral behavior. If I'm a student, then I need to be, I mean, a good student in different aspects. So my behavior and what I do, how I my integrity. So if there are opportunities, for example, to cheat and I don't do it, that's an example of being an agent of change, because people see you. I mean, and it registers. So we do not belittle any deed, no matter how small it is, and think that this might not have an impact. Okay, but first and foremost, it is for me to be a better person. I'm not cheating not because I want to be an example of for others not to cheat. I'm not cheating for myself, because this is the way I should be.
This is an interesting point that you brought up. And the second time that I hear it in 24 hours that we're judged on our efforts and intentions and not the outcomes of our work. And it's kind of interesting how sometimes in this dunya, especially for those of us who are students or employees, you know, work somewhere, sometimes we procrastinate, get lazy, and then we kind of catch up at the last minute before the test, the exam, or whatever. And then we're graded on the outcome of that exam. You know, we get an A, B, or C, depending on the result. Whereas, as Brother Muhammad is saying, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects from us is that we're working all the time. We're producing effort throughout, you know, the day or the life, the week. And the results are in His hands as long as we have the proper intentions, we're prepared. So that's, I think, a perspective to think about it from both ways, not just about the result, but also the effort. How much are you putting the effort? How much are we putting the effort? You mentioned something about integrity. Can you share a little bit? I know at VMI you have a very well-established model for integrity and ethics. Can you share some of the lessons you've come across, how others, or like youth in particular, can build that type of environment amongst themselves where there's no need for a supervision or, you know, a third party to look over the group?
Sure. So I have been at VMI for over 6 years now, and I think I shared this with some of you before. We do not supervise exams. So when I give a test, I mean, I just give a test and I distribute the exam and then get out of the room. If I left something of value anywhere on campus, I come back a couple of days later, it is there. Actually, find cadets leaving their bags and I mean all over the place, and nobody touches them. I'll give you an opposite example, which is where I was before. I would lock my door because the cord of the computer, the power cord, might be stolen. At VMI, there is no locking of doors because I mean this is the way it is. The honor code, there is an honor code at VMI which says I shall not lie, steal, or cheat, or tolerate that. That is something that is ingrained in the in all cadets and all students at VMI, and they follow it. Do they follow it because of the punishment? Punishment over there is one strike and you're out. So if there is an offense, it goes to the honor court, and that honor court actually is managed by students. So it is self governance here. There is a faculty supervisor, but it is managed. The whole thing is managed by students, and they take it very, very seriously. And if someone is convicted of any one of these offenses, they call it a drum out. Drum out means at 3 in the morning, the drums start banging, and everybody wakes up, and this is this would be the last time that the name of that person would be heard at VMI. So that definitely it is shaming. That is the case. So what I'm saying is that, do they follow the honor code because of the severe punishment and the humiliation, or because it becomes part of their character? I believe it is the latter. And why is that? Because many of the vast majority of our students are sought after at work, and they cite, the employers cite this as one of the main reasons, which is the integrity of the VMI graduates. They care about each other. They would lead, and they are resilient. They will do their jobs, and they are honest. That's why I said it's not about the punishment. Maybe the punishment is there as a tool, but in the end, you see during the 4 years there is a transformation. This is what I'm telling you about the 40s. It's a transformation once we start on that path. We see that I personally see the transformation from the students that come from high school and until the time they graduate. I've been there for 6 years, so I graduated six groups, right? And as the department head, actually, I can see. I have a record of everything. So I see that transformation, and I see that integrity. I see that character, and I would say, well, this is our Islamic character. This is how we're supposed to behave. This is how we're supposed to be resilient, and the thing is that we are doing it for one more reason, which is, or the most important reason, which is for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is that is a difference that we we would gain the blessings of once we do it that way. There's nothing in vain in that case. So I talked a lot, and I would like to hear from you guys in terms of comments and questions, whatever you feel like talking about. If you want to share an experience, or if you have a question for me.
Yeah, I had one question, and again, if you wanted to ask a question, you can unmute yourself. So you mentioned earlier the example of a few prophets and the boy of the people of the trench, how he was an agent of change. But you also mentioned that these people did not kind of say we're agents of change. It just happened as part of their life, and they isolated themselves from things that would influence them in a direction that they don't want to go into. But would you agree that having a vision of, I see something that needs to change and I'm trying to change it, would you agree that having that vision or that consciousness is helpful in being an agent of change, or not necessarily?
Well, I agree with that, definitely. In fact, you may recall that I said you have to have your goals, right? And the goals are dynamic too. I mean they are refined over time. But the thing is that I mean, you're not an agent of change just for the sake of being an agent of change. It is what is the outcome that you want to achieve? What are the goals that you would like to achieve? I mean the boy had a goal, right? Oh, he wanted everybody to know that it is in the hands of Allah, not the hands of the king, right? So that he had that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the change came from his persistence and sincerity and sticking to that goal.
Right.
Yusuf alayhi salam had that integrity, right? And he resisted temptation, even when he was imprisoned. He could have yielded to temptation and not been imprisoned.
Right.
He could have gotten out of jail by admitting to falsehood. I mean, but he didn't, right? And he was patient when he was in jail. And while he was in jail, he persisted on his the natural integrity that he had and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him. And he gave da'wah while he was in prison. Why is that? It is because of that character and because of that goal. And it becomes part of your character. And that the thing of being an agent of change, you become. It would be ingrained in you. This is the point that I wanted that I want to make. That being an agent of change is not a title that you would have. It would be intrinsic in your character itself.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. So it's kind of aligning the mission and the vision, and then automatically, with the work, you become that type of person. All right, great. Jazakallah khair. So let's open up here, guys, some questions. So I see we have also Amin Shahata, Doha joined, and a couple of other people. If you want to unmute yourself, inshallah, and ask a question. Or you can put it in the chat if you're really lazy. Such a small group. There's only 9 of us here, so let's keep this.
That's not a small group. That's a very nice group.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I mean, great motivation to get up early and pray and join discussion. So, Baha, I see you're looking up in the ceiling and kind of scratching your head. I guess there's some thoughts coming out.
I'm trying so hard to think of a question. I feel like most of the things I've been asked are like answers. I can't really think of one. Well, I'll try.
All right, Jazakallah khair. So Zafar, as Brother Muhammad was talking about the students on campus at VMI, Virginia Military Institute, them being, self-guiding or governing their own, court or council, if you will. I think there's some lessons there that you can incorporate into your youth council. Any thoughts that come to mind from what you've heard?
Did he go back to sleep?
Are you there, Zafar? Are you able to unmute yourself, or you're having difficulty?
I'm gonna get some water real quick.
Not sure why some people can't unmute. All right, try now, Zafar. You should be unmuted.
Yeah, now I can speak. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khairan for your words of wisdom. I think you mentioning how there's like a self-governance on your system. I think that's something that we can apply to the youth council in terms of making sure that certain deadlines are met, making sure that certain are carried out within the time frame that they're given. That sort of kind of thing. That's what I was currently thinking of. I probably have to give it some more thought to see if there are any other ways it could be implemented, but that's like the main way I could see it.
All right, great. Yeah, deadlines is sometimes a problem.
Let
With
me yeah, let me use an example. I mean, and I will put someone of you on the spot here. I would like to use Doha as that example. So, I mean, following Doha and I mean over the years, and mashallah, and her growth and Doha when she wanted to become a teacher, right? Uh, I think she wanted to become a teacher not for the sake of becoming a teacher. I think her goal was bigger than that. Am I correct, Doha, on that or not?
Um, am I unmuted? Okay, yeah. I don't know. I kind of always just wanted to be a teacher. I don't think I had like a bigger. I mean, I think the main reason I wanted to be a teacher was so that I can like influence, I guess, or like help guide the students. But like, I don't know that it was anything bigger than that.
Well, that is bigger than becoming a teacher, right? I mean, if you wanted to influence the students in a positive way, right?
Yeah.
So you wanted them to, themselves to be good people in the society, right?
Yeah.
So that is bigger than being than well, I love teaching. That is bigger. I love teaching because I wanted to have that impact, and that impact is what in the end, when they are good, it is not directly for you, right? It's indirectly, yes, but the thing is that they become they become more productive citizens of the society.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is part of you. That is part of honesty and integrity. You could have said, "Yeah, I mean, uh, it is bigger than the teacher." But in your mind, you thought, "Well, this is my main goal was a teacher." But in fact, you found out that your goal was bigger than that. But I like your answer actually.
Thank you.
There's a question here saying that with all of the youth today wasting most of their time, how can we as Muslims do something different? What do you see as an ideal thing for the youth of today to become agents of change?
Okay, and that's a great question, but I would like to hear from the youth about what do they think.
But what's a good way
Maybe
to
this
ask one?
question can be answered by a couple by some of you. Any ideas?
So the question again is, with a lot of people wasting time, how do you see Muslim youth becoming agents of change? What can they do differently so they don't, waste time and become complacent?
Become an Ilya intern. But I think getting involved in your local community and getting involved with things outside of school, like even if it's something as small, like as long as it has the right intentions, that even if it's something as small as just making something in your garage or coding something like some website, or if it's actually joining a team that it has a specific mission that you believe in and helping to accomplish that mission. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. With what Bahit said, I think a lot of times people don't realize that there's so much more out. It's like it's not just about you, and you have to realize that the world has so much to offer, and there's a lot that you can do. So when you kind of realize that there's more to it than just what you see in your immediate circle, and you kind of go out there and kind of venture off a little bit more, you won't be as complacent, and you'll have more to involve yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with both of you, and I would say the main thing is that if I have in mind, if the perspective, if my perspective is that it is not about me, things will be very different. Because let me give Ayman here as an example. If it were about him, he wouldn't have started Ilya. Correct? So why Ilya, and why that many years? I mean, you have over 10 years, and some ups and downs, and many downs, right? Sometimes he might not have even one participant, and it happened many times. And over the years, I mean, many setbacks. But in the end, there are more successes definitely than setbacks, as we always shared together, is that the outcome is not yours. I mean, we had that in our discussion, in our many discussions over the years. So if we have this ingrained in our character that it is not about me, then when I'm wasting time, I wouldn't say that playing is wasting time, all of it. I mean, there is room to play. I mean, we need to relax and unwind. So I mean, playing games, on socializing with our friends, that is fine. Muslim youth, I mean, yeah, they need to be youth too, right? I mean, playing sports and playing games on computers and interacting with one another, and that is fine. But it is part of what we can do, or what we do. But there is another part, which is acknowledging that it is not about me. It is there must be, as Doha said. I mean, there are numerous things out there that one, I mean, can contribute to, and in a positive way. So if I had that mentality, things would line up, and then building myself. I mean, if it is not about me now, okay, how can I be better? How can I do things in a different way? Let me, perhaps, if I have that framework of the 40s, maybe I can take some of them and as Tadabor, for a reflection, for example, on things. Okay, whatever I read, I reflect upon. And the best thing to read is the Quran and Hadith. We know that is the difference as a Muslim youth here is we have a source that others do not have. If we have that source, why? And we know that source is the best on earth, as all of us know. This is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we have the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intact, what better source than that? So we have that blessing, enormous blessing. Then we can utilize that within the 40s. You'll find that all four of them would come from that source, and finding, I mean, things outside also would be there in that source, in that source. And this is one of the sources that we should we should consider. And of course, this is the main source, but there are other things beyond that. Even an interaction like that, what we're having now. Why did you wake up at that early in the morning and join this group? It is in you. You want to do something. It is not. Ayman did not force you to do it. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I could tell you, this is a great point. I know a lot of young people, when sometimes they approach us, Ilya, to help out or things like that, one of the first things that I kind of come out of them is what's in it for me? Like, you know, am I going to get paid, or, you know, will you get me some letter from my school or whatnot? But after a period of time, that no longer becomes the interest. And it's more about what can I do for others? Like, what's my position in the global puzzle? Where do I fit, and what can I help to be part of the bigger community? So that's definitely a step, and kind of what Brother Muhammad alluded to earlier, the transformation. To start that transformation process of the self, we have to have that feeling of giving, that feeling of, you know, not being self-centric, and that's part of the tarbiyah of the Prophet ﷺ with his companions and youth in his time. We have about 3 minutes left. As I say, good times pass very quickly. So let's take another couple of questions, inshallah, before we close. And maybe we can do a quick summary. Maybe someone can summarize for us what we talked about today and some lessons or next steps, inshallah. Would anyone like to volunteer doing that? Hamid, I see you want to say something. Try to click on your unmute buttons. I'm unable to unmute.
Sorry, I missed the question,
there you
if it is a question.
Would you like to summarize the topic in a sentence, what we talked about today, and maybe share some thoughts for things we can take with us after this discussion, inshallah?
Yes, so I will try to summarize it. Two interesting things I was just trying to consolidate what I had in my mind versus what I was listening, is that I was looking at the fillers of being a literate person, being an educated person, not in an Islamic perspective, but in general. And there were four, I forgot the one of them, but there was one was confidence, the other was character, and one was contribution. And there were four C's, like confidence, character, contribution, and then one more. In this discussion, I found two of them which we were talking about. One was the character, and the other was how can we be be a contributor to the society. So even if we summarize what we have discussed here, automatically it makes us to be a literate and educated person. Like it brings us into the definition of literacy and education, irrespective of whether we are thinking in those terms or not. So adhering to these values in itself is will make us an educated person. What if I say what will be my takeaway from this discussion? I will say that if we have a goal in mind, in order to achieve that goal, we should always stick to the core values first and then focus on the goal. Like, we should not sacrifice our fundamental values and just focus on the goal. Like, there can be so many ways to achieve the end goal, like getting rich. There can be many ways, but the fundamental thing should be that we should focus on the values, how the standards we define for ourselves, and that should be the higher standards to get the value. Like we discussed the example of Yusuf alayhi salam. He could have been out of the jail very easily, but he stuck to those values of sabr, patience, and keeping up that high morality, right? To say, okay, I can be out of the jail and I can do what I want to do in my life in a different way, but no, actually those are not my values. So adhering to the values, having good character, and being a contributor to the society is the way I am summarizing this discussion.
Jazakallah khairan. Brother Muhammad, would you like to make any comments or feedback?
Jazakallah khair, Brother Hamdan. I think this is a very nice perspective. I would like to leave the group with a question for next time to talk about. What I want to think about is that how do we think about others? What is when we are in with others and we are in the society, how do we think about others? And let us discuss that next time, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Beautiful discussion. Thank you everyone for joining so early. Would you like to close with a dua, inshallah, Brother Muhammad?
Now you do it.
إن شاء الله. جزاكم الله خيرا. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل بيننا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم بارك لنا في يومنا هذا. اللهم احفظنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم انك عفو كريم حليم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. واخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاه والسلام على سيدنا محمد خاتم الرسل النبيين. والعصر إن الإنسان في خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.